everybody. Welcome back. We had a week off, but we are back because the show is back.
They had a week off.
They had it like we set the schedule.
Yeah.
We are so excited to be back for this super upbeat, fun episode.
Really, really happy and not sad at all.
No.
Just incredibly happy. Before we start, before we start, I'm Katie.
I'm Kimberly.
And we are the Wilderness Girls, but we're also a date with K and K and a date with the Dateline podcast, a date with Dateline, not a date with the Dateline. If you're here for some reason, not from a date with Dateline. So
one person wrote me. They found us just through YouTube.
Yay, there you
go.
Hi,
one person.
Hi, one person. That might be two people now. So, really quick, if you for some reason don't watch Yellowjackets,
which is crazy. Why are you here? I know you're here and it's nice and it's supportive of us, but why are you here?
But this is going to be a rough episode. There might be a big trigger warning in this. And it involves a deceased baby. So I would say if that is something that you're sensitive about, this is one to skip.
Yeah. But also, if you haven't watched it all and I see you discussing it in the comments, we'll be here. This will be here. Go back to season 1 and start at the beginning.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous for people to get
to start. You're missing out
at season 1.
But should we talk about a few things that we got since last week, like theories, things that we missed?
Yeah. Okay. Before we jump into episode 6, what do we have?
So one thought that I read online is that the cave or whatever underground is like some portal to the underworld. And it's like some limbo in between land where people are when they're near death, like Lottie was when she was frozen. And that's where Javi has been, which is why he's so traumatized. He's not talking. Second thing.
But they think it's still Javi. It's not like...
Or it's some other Javi that like...
It's not Ghost Javi.
A ghost. Could be ghost. It's older Ghost Javi.
It's Ghost Javi. I'm going to be upset. I'll tell you that right now.
The thing that we missed, though, was... and I'm sure you saw it because that YouTuber that you love talked about it, was... Javi is sitting there when he won't talk, and Aquila says to him,
yes,
Javi, where'd you get that queen?
Yes.
He has the queen card. He is, which there were no queens in that deck of cards. The queens that later Lottie sees as an adult, the queens that we think have to do with them killing each other. He came back with a queen. And you wouldn't even know because you can barely hear it. And the subtitle even trails off. It's like, Javi, is that that's all you get. But Eagle listeners saw it. Incredible.
That's a really important one. Also, if you're not watching Ash Silver on YouTube, get on it because she has all the goods. Seriously, her theories are unbelievable. And I now have to like kind of not watch sometimes because I feel like I'm just going to steal her theories and I'm going to think that they're mine and they're actually hers because they're that good. She's very detailed.
Go on her channel and ask her if she'll come on our small little show. We would love that. We would love to.
Because I have actually one theory that I'm saving for her because it has to do, I know she pores over the promos and the previews for the season. And I have something from the preview that I have not brought up. Okay. So I'm waiting because I want to see if she noticed it. And I think it might be a terrible theory, but it might be genius. What if it's amazing?
It could be. Alyssa wrote me and said that there's a theory that whatever it is kept them alive in the crash so that it could infect them with the darkness and then had them rescued so it could go out into the world. It's like trying to infect the whole world. So it's like pulling down planes, sending it out there.
Demon virus.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then Angel said one of Plato's theories, because they keep talking about Plato, is that the physical world is not really the real world. Instead, the ultimate reality exists beyond our physical world.
So it's dark? Yeah. From Netflix?
It's true. Maybe this whole thing is dark. It's already Lost. It's already Lord of the Flies. It's already dark. It's all these shows.
It's
And then
just done really well
when
in
we
its own
showed
unique way.
it is. When we showed Natalie in that flashback when she's overdosing and we missed that she's wearing this knit cap thing, but she also is standing with antlers behind her. So we've now
Oh, no,
had
we missed that she's actually so in that scene, if that scene is lit up where
yeah,
she's in the knit hat and it looks like her eyes, she's doing the blackout
black
contact,
eyes.
um, it looks like she would have just lifted the antler shroud because you see the netting and
Gotcha.
antlers. You see the whole thing. So it's very
Gotcha.
clearly her as the antler queen. Now, we don't know if that means, again, there are multiple antler queens
Right, because
or
we've seen the coach standing in front of antlers, we've seen Lottie
twice.
standing in we do in this episode see the
Again.
coach for the second time with
Yeah,
antlers, and we've seen
exactly.
Lottie, of course, in the first
Mhm,
time.
and then we've seen Natalie now in the airplane, and then also it can be thought that possibly when Natalie is in Lottie's lap after that reading or whatever, when they're doing the you know what I'm talking about? When they're doing the watch the light, that business.
Mhm,
When Natalie lays in Lottie's lap, that's when we see the shadow of the antlers come. Now, depending on where you are, that could be coming from Natalie or coming from Lottie.
mhm,
So I don't
mhm.
know. Coach Ben is the moose queen.
So we are talking
Coach
about
Ben is on my last nerve. I'll just say that.
how long have I been preaching that Coach Ben is lost it? But, there's more theories about that. So, let's get into it. This
Yeah.
is episode 6 of season 2. It's called Qui,
Mhm.
which means who, I believe, in French, and because there's a lot of French going on. And we start with this, health class flashback, which we don't get very many flashbacks, so when we do, I get pretty excited. Um
We don't get them at
and it
school,
couldn't be
yeah.
darker. I don't know if it's just the way my screen grabs are, but anyways, we see, like, Ben and Taisa hanging out together, and Randy's being a douche as usual, and Jeff is
Yeah.
trying to hook up with Shauna again, and it's like, "Shauna, don't do it." And also, they're in health class, she has a full-on condom and a banana on her desk, and they don't use a condom. What are you doing? Um
Teenagers.
Teenagers, and Misty's the only one that's really into it 'cause she's like,
Of course,
"How much
yeah.
blood?" And Coach Ben is teaching the class, and that is the ultimate fail. And if there's, like, an oath you have to take as a teacher, he fails. He's failed as a
Yeah.
coach, he's failed in all of it. Okay,
I
so
don't
we're
know
at the
what
cabin, and Shauna's going into labor, and they're playing Blur, whatever that song is called.
song
Song
number 2, I
2,
think.
yeah,
Mhm.
and Lottie is trying to make it a mystical experience because it's going badly. She tries to get the cult to gather together and hold hands and share their hopes with each other.
I can't. That
Everything Lottie does is something that would make me want to stab you if I
I
was
was
giving birth.
really upset about "Okay, well, let's just share our hopes." Absolutely not.
No.
I was ready for Nat to stand up and be like, "Not the time.
And
Not
then
now. We're
and
not
then
gonna do this
Mari
now."
goes, "Wilderness, please don't let Shauna die." It's like, "What is wrong with you? Mari, I can't." And then Lottie says, like, "Let your pain open you to this moment."
Lottie
Do you wanna go through birth right now? But it's a very cool shot where they're all looking at her, like, peering, and it's very like, reminds me of when Jackie was in that limbo area when she died and they gave her the hot chocolate and they were all staring at her. There's a couple of
there's a
those
couple of, like,
moments.
moments like that where I think that Laura Lee's gonna show up,
Yeah,
and
no,
I'm like
totally.
and
Yeah,
Crystal, and I'm like, "If Crystal is a real person, like,
yeah,
what's about to happen here?"
yeah.
What I
So
don't what I don't understand. Okay, keep going, sorry.
no, what?
No, we'll come back to it.
Well, there's a lot of blood. Misty starts freaking out and flashing back to Crystal, who just died like a couple hours ago. And no one cares that she's out in the storm because she's not real. No, she's totally real. Katie thinks she's not real,
No, I
but
don't know, it's weird that no one cares about
no
her.
one
That
cares.
just
I mean,
no one
I
cares.
think they think she's gone. Like, look at the storm out there. We'll go look for her after the storm. It's
They're
fine.
also out of food at this point, right?
Yeah. No, they might have the tiniest bit of Jackie. No, I think they're pretty much done.
Of bird?
Those birds were the last thing they ate. Yeah, I
You
think they're
maybe
pretty
wanna
much done.
find Crystal.
They will once they are definitely going to eat Crystal
I
if they
just
can
feel
find
like
her,
it's
for sure.
so odd. There's a few things that I have a few overarching questions, and one of them is why is just no one, and it's only the same person
They
that
thought
keeps
she was
talking.
annoying. She sang show tunes.
But Akila is the only person that's referencing Crystal. Akila talks to Misty about her in this episode, and then previously, Akila is the one that when Misty bursts in and is like, I lost her, she's gone. Akila is like, okay, well, maybe we should get up and look
Because
for her.
Akila is nice. Or they're
Nice
all just
one?
going along with Misty's delusion.
I don't know. Okay.
So here we get this moment that was so sad. So Natalie drags Coach over and is like, Shauna's dying. Please help us. And he sees the blood, almost passes out, and says, Shauna, I'm sorry, I can't help. And look at Natalie's face. That's the face when your hero dies right in front of you. That's when Shirley MacLaine made me cry. That is like, don't have heroes, kids, because he's the one adult in the room. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I just pressed a button. They're like 16 years old. What do they know what to do?
I also love that their immediate reaction is for the ones that have seen Gone with the Wind to be like, we're going to boil water. It's full Gone with the Wind immediately because that's where everybody's mind goes.
Water.
But like
water
specifically
and towels.
That movie, the birthing scene is kind of famous, right? And so it does seem like hot towels, boil water seems to be in the Old West. That's how it was done. And that's it. Nothing else. Oh boy.
So thank goodness Taisa's there. Taisa's being a champ. Natalie's being a champ. Akila, with the help of being a Nugget champ. The mouse, Akila should go into healthcare if she survives this, which I don't think she is. But
why is she? What's the significance of Nugget?
Well, somebody said that I didn't see Ratatouille, but I think like the mouse was controlling the chef. So they think
that
maybe
is true.
Maybe Nugget is like secretly controlling the birthing, Akila's medical prowess. But also this is a really good point. Not only does she touch the mouse and then touch Shauna's cervix.
Her innards. Yeah.
Misty does the same thing. And Misty was just carrying that poop bucket with Crystal. So there's a whole lot going on.
Days before. I don't know.
That was right now.
I think they're not showing.
It was the same scene. Right before.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was earlier that day. I do seem to think, I don't know. I feel like Misty's probably sanitized. I don't know. I'm sure Akila has too. I'm sure they're just not showing us everything.
How are they sanitizing?
Okay. Hot water apparently and towels. I don't know. I don't know how it's working.
Yeah, but is Nugget real? Like Shauna goes, who are you talking to?
I just don't know why why Nugget is being referenced.
It's gonna be a plot point, and it's gonna have something to do with Mari. I feel like Mari's gonna eat the mouse.
Nugget as chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Nugget as mouse nugget.
Yeah.
Nugget's getting roasted and toasted.
Yeah.
Which is going to make everyone very upset.
Well,
everyone on this side of the screen is going to be upset.
Yeah. So maybe he'll die of natural causes first. So then Travis pulls a skull off the wall.
Just out of nowhere.
Travis is the one who initiates it. But then Lottie sees him and is like, yes. I was totally going to say that because I am in touch with the wilderness. The wilderness needs offerings.
This is interesting. Okay, so this is what I was sort of saving, what I was going to say earlier. Lottie doesn't seem to quite know what to do in this episode. We're not
saying that Nugget died. Nugget didn't die.
Nugget has not died yet.
We're saying maybe Nugget will die and then they will eat it, or they're going to eat it alive. Don't panic.
They're giving a lot of screen time to Nugget.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like Nugget either leads to, I'm hoping not, because I like Akila, but Akila no longer being with us because of Nugget. Or Nugget is, I don't know. So here's the issue I have. Lottie seems to really be kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of in charge of this spiritual part. What am I supposed to be doing? She doesn't seem to have, like, even when she says the line about let's all say what our hopes are. It seems like it's just she's not
Right. Sometimes she very much doubts herself, and that she had maybe she's making this all up. She doesn't really know if she's
That is
really
not
doing
how
something.
I did not think this was gonna go like that. So when I was picturing this birthing scene in my head, what I was picturing is that they were gonna do some sort of shot back and forth between Lottie and Shauna, and Lottie was going to be feeling the labor. Like, Lottie was going to actually physically be in pain the way Shauna was in pain. That's what
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna, and that is not. Lottie's kind of, like, trying to lead this worship group, which is,
Mhm.
and she's not confident in it
No,
at
she's
at
not.
all.
Travis seems much more confident in this moment.
What skull is that Travis has? Is that a moose?
It looks more like a deer or a horse or something.
Does anyone know skulls?
Well, I don't know. But he cuts his hand. Lottie cuts her hair as an offering, and then someone puts down a button.
I can't with the
What
button.
is the wilderness gonna do with your offering of a button? Was the
Who
wilderness
puts
having
the
a
button
wardrobe
down?
malfunction
Who
and
puts the
showing too
button
much
down?
cleave? And Van was like, "Cover yourself up, wilderness." I think it was Van. You need a button. You lost your button
Who who puts the button down?
I think it was either Mari or Van. And I don't know. I think maybe that's why everything goes bad in this episode because the
I
wilderness
think
was
it's Mari.
not impressed with the button. They were like,
You couldn't do any better than I
I
feel like
mean,
a
what else do
sock.
they have? But at
A
least Lottie
belt?
gave her hair, and Travis gave
Okay,
his blood.
so the hair might be important because remember, Antler Queen
Yes,
has got
has a
hair
dress
clipped
with hair all
all
over her.
over.
Yes,
Lots
true.
of brown hair
Yeah,
everywhere. So just remember that, folks.
yeah.
Okay.
So Coach is dissociating from the wilderness once again, and he's the only one that keeps doing this. And he keeps going to this kind of like an alternate timeline where he didn't get on the plane and he chose his boyfriend. And so they are doing charades in a oh god, it's so dark. But look, it's glitching. He keeps having this glitchy thing going on. And he's standing in front of antlers and he is having these matrix static moments where he's like, now I'm somewhere else. Like he's like quantum leaping. And
He's the
so
only one with static, right?
he's the only one with this static jumping to another timeline or another what could have been life. Now, one theory I read is that it's not Ben, it's kind of a cop out to Coach Ben. It's not his fault that he's being so utterly useless as the only adult there. The wilderness is weakening him and sedating him, almost drugging him with these memories of his life that he could have had with his boyfriend, making him ineffectual so that they will kill him and eat him. He's
Okay.
not.
No, it could
Or
be
he
that.
just sucks and he's having PTSD and
No,
he's not coping with it as well as the girls are coping with it.
sorry, I'm taking it to the step of what are the writers doing with this?
Right.
Because I trust the writers on the show. So I'm trying to
That might be a
see.
mistake.
I don't think it is.
I
I
used
think
to
it's
think it wasn't, but now I'm questioning.
I don't think it is. I think it's important, but I just don't know why. And what I'm wondering is if who is actually going to start playing is the boyfriend. And what I'm wondering is if the boyfriend, there is some sort of rumor going around that Adam was part of this other cult, right? It's
Right.
not the Lottie cult, it's the other
Another
cult.
wilderness cult?
Right. Walter's a part of it. Adam would be a part of it. Adam who
Mhm.
Shauna kills.
Mhm.
And then I am wondering also if Ben's boyfriend is a part of it because
Mm.
we all pretty much assume Ben's not going to make it out alive.
Right. And is that why we keep seeing the boyfriend because he's going to become important?
Are we being introduced? Is actually this the vehicle to introduce us to the boyfriend? Is that what's kind of happening? Or is this because it's also weird because, okay, if there is some sort of poisoning going on, the mercury theory that they're
Yeah.
being
Mhm.
poisoned, it
Which we
seems
discussed last week if you don't know what we're talking about or 2
it
weeks
seems
ago.
odd that it would affect Ben more than everyone else. I would think it would affect Ben, who has more body mass, a little bit less than some of the people who are slighter, right? But I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe in that room that he's sort of camped out in, maybe that's like it's a heavier concentration or something.
Right, like a
I don't
gas leak or something. Now,
I don't know.
here, what was I gonna say? The room that he's in that he keeps flashing to, it's like he's on vacation, and it's very much like this cabin. It seems to kind of be this cabin, but like a dream version. It's like a mix between their apartment and the cabin. There is a window with moss in it.
Oh,
And it's
good.
snowing outside.
Good
And
spotting. I
it
didn't
has the
see that.
fireplace with the antlers on it. But that apartment he shared with the boyfriend also had antlers in another one of these flashback things.
But
Maybe
is
it's
it
just
so
to
it's like a morphed of
something
the
like that.
2?
Maybe
Oh,
it's
I'm
just to show
curious.
that he is not doing as well as these teen girls are, and they're so much stronger. Another theory, which I kind of think might be happening because of a thing I saw for next week.
How did you
He's
see something for next week?
I saw on Reddit someone posted some stills of it, like
Oh, I'm
promo
grumpy.
stills, but
Okay.
there was nothing really. There was one thing that made me go, "Wow, what
Are
does
you gonna
that
tell
mean?"
us now?
Yeah, I'll tell you now.
Okay,
It
okay.
it's Coach Ben, and he's shaving his beard. And then the episode is called Burial next week. So there's a couple things people they could be burying, but when I saw it, it made me think he's getting ready to either sacrifice himself to the group, like he's giving up and he's going to let them kill him so that they can eat him. That's one theory that I have. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like he's reaching some sort of tipping point in this episode where it's like he needs to go all in and be an adult in survival mode, or he's just going to give up and wither away. So he needs to do one or the other. But why is he shaving for a funeral that they're gonna have next week for one of several things people that it could be a funeral for? Or is it for some other reason? Why is he, like, putting himself together? And then there's a picture where he looks out the window of the cabin, and he looks like he sees something disturbing. So, I'm not
What's
sure. And
going
then there's
Okay,
a couple other
interesting.
pictures, but nothing's really clear what's happening.
And we're sure he's in the cabin when he's shaving? Like, he has a
He
beard
has
and
that
he's
full
shaving?
beard, and but
Oh.
he has, shaving cream. So,
Well,
it's
there
like
was a guy in the cabin before, so maybe he had
maybe he had
shaving
some shaving cream.
he had
Yeah,
shaving soap, maybe. Oh,
yeah.
weird. Okay,
So,
I have
the
oh,
charades
boy.
they're doing when he's on vacation in his fantasy alternate universe,
Mhm.
um, The Shining,
Yeah.
Falling Down,
Mhm.
Silence of the Lambs,
Mhm.
Hear No Evil,
Mhm.
One Life to Live. That
Mhm.
seems super symbolic. And then when he sits down, his boyfriend says, "You killed it." And I wrote it down because I think everything means something.
Yeah.
Like, what did he kill? And then someone guesses the movie Airplane, which I
Yeah.
think we saw the poster of in Van's shop.
I'm pretty sure there's an airplane poster
And then that causes Ben to like glitch again because of Airplane.
and
And
come back.
he kind of freaks out. And then he's hearing Shauna screaming. So back to the birth.
And seems to not be able to handle the screaming, which I thought that there was some sort of roar from the wilderness, I think I said last time, which is
Right. Or
why we saw
Mari's
him
hearing
do
the
this.
dripping. Um,
Oh, somebody had a good theory about the dripping. I think we
the
may have already
tunnels.
talked about it. Yeah, that it was happening in the tunnel.
Yeah.
If there is a
So,
tunnel under the cabin, which we still don't know. Which
right.
I'm now super suspicious that the actual scene and the reason we keep seeing the scene of Lottie going up to the weird altar with the candles in a
Mhm.
tunnel
From
is
last season.
I keep thinking that's a hallucination. I don't think that's anything real.
But she
Now
also
because
went down to that mall that was underground in, like,
in
an
a
elevator.
hallucination.
Yeah, but it is that weird pre-death hallucination thing.
So me okay. Well, we'll see.
You know, like Jackie was in the cabin.
Yeah, and now this all makes a lot more sense of why Travis is trying to do this sort of why Travis was doing what he was doing with the crane of the you get close to death, and then you get to sort of see the truth or see
Yeah.
what's happening. Okay.
Uh,
Glitches give the impression this stuff is being recorded. Yeah, that's an interesting theory. Yeah, that this is
If
some sort
so,
of
that's a
cabin
ripoff
in the
of a
woods
different show.
where there's an overlord and there's some sort
That's
of control. It's an
totally different
experiment.
show that
Yeah.
this will be a ripoff of, or maybe that show ripped off this show,
What show are you talking about?
The Wilds on Amazon Prime. And it's
I have
not
not
nearly as
watched The Wilds. Should I
it's
watch The
good, but not
Wilds?
nearly as good. But it's like it feels like a lesser version of this in terms of like the acting, I felt like. But it's still entertaining.
Oh, that's a
So
shame. Sorry
back
if
to
you
The
were in The
Birth.
Wilds. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
back to I really liked some of the actresses. I just felt like overall it wasn't as
Mhm.
so back to The Birth. The placenta comes out first, which is very, very, very bad.
Mhm.
But Akila, again, calming her down, and she's being respectful. She's like, "I'm gonna touch your neck, I'm gonna touch you now." Like being so Akila.
I
She's
liked that
so
too.
good.
I heard her and I was like, "That's
She's
amazing."
not gonna survive, but she should become a doctor.
Also, I feel more confident with Akila at the wheel on this birth
Yeah,
than Misty.
I know
So
when Misty takes over, it was like Akila was
I'm
doing
kind of
just
like, let's
fine.
have Akila there because
Yeah,
I
let's
feel
go back
even
to
though
Akila.
Akila cannot hide her scare face for anything, and you
Right.
can see that she's terrified, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. She still has
yeah,
there's something about her that's very calming, and I
yeah.
want Akila there. And I also really don't want Akila to die. And
I
we have
don't
not
either.
seen Akila in present time, which makes me very nervous.
They're gonna eat that placenta, right? They would be dumb not to.
I think that was what we thought last time because especially when we see everybody sort of crowded over the blood, I think we
Yeah,
thought that was the placenta. I am guessing yes.
I mean, it would be
I am
stupid
guessing
not to.
yes. I'm guessing yes.
So Misty goes off by herself and she's like yelling at herself, like, "This is all your fault. You're such a freak, and there's something wrong with you." And it's like, no doy, obviously. But then Lottie comes over, like, "We need you. We need you to save our baby.
Yeah, that Lottie were and then
We're gonna need you to zip it
immediate
with that our baby stuff."
immediately following that, Shauna, we go to Shauna and Shauna's like, "Is my baby all right?" So we get
Right.
this juxtaposition of our baby and Shauna
Yep.
being like, "This is not our baby.
Yep.
None of you are pushing. This
Yep.
is my baby." Like,
So but we do get the best nugget. Sorry, nugget, no pun intended. I hope you're still with us. Um, Misty says, "Crystal and I were supposed to do this together. We were gonna sing a song. We had a song prepared." Was it Lightning Crashes? What song was it?
I think it was Baby Mine. Baby mine,
Were they
don't you
singing that
cry.
earlier?
No, but it's Bette Midler, and I feel like it's from that era, right? Bette Midler sings it. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I think it's not from is it from Dumbo? Who knows what I'm talking about? Hold on. Press on. I'll look it up. I got
So
this.
the real tragedy I felt like of Crystal dying was we didn't get to hear that song. Lottie's like, "You could save our baby," and then Misty kind of snaps back into it and she takes over from Akila. Unnecessary.
Oh, it's
Akila
in
was doing fine.
Beaches. Yeah, it's in Beaches.
It's in Beaches, there we go.
So,
And
yeah.
we've gotten several Beaches references.
Yeah,
So
I think it might also be in Dumbo, but yeah.
so then Lottie's cult is all chanting over in front of the fire. "We hear the wilderness and it hears us," which seems like a very basic chant. I feel like these should be more original if you're
Lottie,
gonna chant
again,
to
does
the
not know what
wilderness.
she's doing in
No,
this.
she's
She
it's
it's really
boring
clear that
platitudes.
she doesn't.
Yeah. So finally, though, the poignant part of this is Taisa, who is obviously not totally in Lottie's cult, but hanging out with them because of Van. She pulls out that token that I think was the same token that Van had last season. It's like a bone thing,
Mhm.
and she
What's the thing
starts
she was wearing
chanting.
around her neck? Yeah.
Yeah, so she starts chanting. So now the cult is really the only people the cult doesn't have are Coach, who's on his way out, Natalie, and Shauna. It's rough. So
Who do I got? Natalie, Shauna, Coach Ben.
yeah.
Out.
Mhm.
Javi is a question mark, which we'll get to. And then
Javi is that might not
I have
even be Javi.
Akila. I feel like Akila should move to the middle. No, she's kinda in where Ty
No,
is, but then we
Akila
have
goes to the meetings. She's doing it for her own reasons, she said.
Mari, Travis, Misty. Yeah. All right.
So Shauna pushes out the baby, and then passes out. And she hears a voice waking her up. Now, did you hear the voice that's waking her up?
No, what do you mean? Did I miss something?
Yes. The voice that's waking her up is Jackie's voice.
How
Now,
did you know that?
I could hear it. Then I went to Reddit to confirm, and a bunch of other people heard it as well. But in the subtitles, it says Misty. It's not Misty. It's
Jackie.
fully Jackie's raspy voice saying Shauna. And Shauna wakes up. This should have been a huge clue.
Oh, I
Except,
knew the minute she woke. First of all, I knew the minute she woke up and everyone was smiling.
yeah,
I was like, well, this isn't
this is
real.
how we know that this whole thing was fake. Mari's smiling. How
Everyone
is Mari? When has Mari ever been that nice?
I mean, you knew, right? You knew when.
I knew because this scene where they're all smiling at her was so reminiscent of when they're all smiling at Jackie when she died.
Yeah,
And they were all like, "We
exactly.
love you, Jackie.
Yep,
Come
exactly.
inside. Here's some hot chocolate." And so it was so eerie in that way. But then it got so realistic that I started to forget and like let myself forget and go, maybe this is real. Like
Oh,
maybe this is happening because they went so far with it, you know?
I think they did that on purpose to try to get people
Yeah.
to see. There's another point when it's right as, like, the baby finally does what she needs it to do when it breastfeeds, and
Yeah.
then she says, "It's just you and me, kid. It's you and me, kid," and I'm like, "This is absolutely not real."
Yeah.
Like, that's not I think I'm sure that motherly instincts kick in, but I have a strong feeling that Shauna would still be very terrified, even with the baby here and
Oh,
living.
yeah.
There's a whole new set of
Yeah.
issues that come in,
Yeah.
right? And so I think I just don't know also that you and me kid, if you've ever seen The Family Stone with Diane Keaton,
Mhm.
I know that it's not the right time period, but it's all I could think of was that's what she says in that movie, and I was like, "No, that's just too much of a movie line almost. It's too much like Humphrey Bogart. It's just not." You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
It
Yeah.
doesn't it
I
felt like
think
something that you would dream because it's too kind of everything you're saying is kinda
but the
right, you know?
struggles, like the highs and the lows, it wasn't all just like magical.
That's true.
That
That's
made me
true.
think that it was real because it was such a struggle. You know, you would think if this was like a happily ever after, imagining things are okay, but I don't think that's what it was. I think there's more to it than that. But
I do think that there's something weird. I
well, we'll get
don't
to it.
okay,
So,
okay. Alright.
Misty gives her the baby boy that is alive and huge, but you kind of just go, they're always big on TV because they can't just get like a newborn right from the hospital and shove it on TV. But
They
the
get a
baby,
fake baby.
you could get a fake baby, but it's a real big baby and it's covered in goo.
Yeah.
And the baby's crying a lot because she won't latch. And so they stuff Shauna and the baby into that back bedroom, which I was like happy that they kicked out Coach because I don't think he deserves that bedroom. Or is there more than one bedroom?
But that's what I also thought was fake. I was like, "Wait a minute, suddenly there's a bedroom because it didn't seem like Coach's bedroom. It
Kick
seemed like a
Coach
different
out.
bedroom." And
Well, it could
so,
there
I
is
don't
that
know.
bed where were Natalie and Travis having sex that time?
Oh my
Was
gosh,
that
again,
back
I
bedroom?
am gonna need a floor plan of the cabin. If
Yeah.
anybody
So
has that, I really like floor plans. It helps
yeah.
me a lot, figures things out, and I
So
don't know what's going on.
they and it, a lot of people said that like the goo convinced them. They made it look very realistic, like it wasn't a dream of what a teenager would think it would look like after birth. It looked like what you would imagine this healthy baby, but like it would cover with goo, you
I'm
know?
just trying to think of any way for the show to handle this situation
Right,
and not be, "This is awful enough," right?
right.
If the
This
baby had indeed lived and something I mean, do you know what I'm saying? There's,
no,
like,
this was
levels of
actually
horror that
the
we could go
kindest
through.
thing the show could do for the baby
Kind of,
because
like
the other options are starving to death, being eaten by the cult,
I
you
mean,
know, there
the mind
and
yeah,
then
I
we'd have to
can't
watch the
even
baby starving to death over the
and you
weeks.
you get to know it. It's a character
Right.
now and everything else. And then it's bad enough for Shauna. This is. I can't imagine if we had something else.
Right.
If we had that, like, yeah, Lottie steals the baby and runs into the woods. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then
Mhm.
we find the baby frozen or whatever. I
Now,
mean, there's so many horrible things that could happen here.
when Taisa puts her in that room, she looked upset, and I couldn't tell if she was upset because the baby wasn't nursing, or she looked almost mad at Shauna, and I couldn't tell if I was misreading it. It was just it felt like they were punishing Shauna by putting her in that room. And
Oh, I
even though
didn't notice
I would
that, huh?
rather be in a private room with my
Yeah.
baby, but I feel like anytime the baby cried, she's like, "Don't bother the others, and why aren't you eating?" And it just added to the stress of it. So a lot of time shown on Shauna trying to get the baby. Then she wakes up, she hears Lottie humming, Frere Jacques, which you don't wanna know how I spelled that in my notes, and
But so that's a huge deal. The humming is gonna be a big deal in this because, I mean,
and French.
immediately French, and then them doing well, I thought that was interesting also they used that Blur song. The lyrics I know of that Blur song, I believe, are "Pleased to meet you,"
Mhm.
and then they did this, and then Frere Jacques is "Are you sleeping?" Right?
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah, maybe.
that's weird.
So
Did it remind you immediately of Rosemary's Baby? Because that's the
no,
first thing I thought was, "La, la, 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 la,
no,
la,
I don't
la,
know
la,
Rosemary's
la, la."
Baby as well as, uh,
Oh,
you
I've
do.
seen it a lot of times, and I
Um,
was like, "Oh, don't do creepy humming. Don't do
what
humming or la la laing. Don't
what
do
this
it." Like,
scene of Lottie breastfeeding Shauna's baby reminded me of was Melrose Place, and that's gonna appeal to a certain age group. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking
I've
about.
never seen it.
When Kimberly breastfeed Fred that baby. Also, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, amazing movie. So
Is there a lullaby in that? It's the humming of
yeah,
the
she's creeps
lullaby.
Rebecca De Mornay hums
Children
creepily.
children choirs singing and
It's creepy.
someone humming or,
Yeah,
like, sort of just doing
yeah.
music is,
So
rough.
Lottie um, the says, "The baby's hungry, you aren't producing any milk." And Lottie then says, "We need to feed." And Shauna says, "What did you say?" And Lottie says, "I said he needs to feed." But first, and now we know later that this is all Shauna's kind of imagination, and she's imagining Lottie saying, "We need to feed," like they're fully gonna eat the baby. And Lottie looks super creepy. And so Shauna's like, "Give him back, that's my baby." And Lottie says, "You'll understand soon enough." So then Shauna has this heart to heart with the baby, how she never really wanted the baby, but she loves the baby now, and she can't wait to see what he becomes when he grows up. And it's just you and me, kid. And
You and me, kid.
it's
You and
such
me, kid.
a
Oh, the Family
juxt
Stone makes me cry.
it's such a powerful scene when it goes hand in hand with the later scene with adult Shauna at the police station
Yeah, it's good.
talking about being a mom.
Mhm.
And so she's like, "It's you and me, kid. It's you and me, and we're up against the world and those cult members who wanna eat you in the room next
See,
door."
there's just no way that that's not a conversation that it's
I
just
think
I was
probably
like,
a lot of moms have said that to their kid.
I think so, but this felt like a movie. This feels like someone who has seen like, this feels like that. That doesn't feel
Yeah,
like something maybe Shauna would say.
yeah,
Does that make sense? It just
yeah.
didn't seem parts of it did, but that part, I was like, "Mm-mm, she's dreaming. Mm-mm, she's dreaming." And it's
So
too much, like, rounded out. It's too much of a, like, you need that kind of moment, and then that
see,
moment's
and I
not
feel
real.
like in a dream, it would be way more simple. It would have just been a happily ever after and not these, like, struggles.
So is this then not a dream?
Well, that's a good point, which we'll get to in a sec.
Yeah, yeah.
So she finally gets the baby to nurse, and she's so happy.
Mhm.
And Natalie comes in and brings her tea. And Natalie's like, "That's great. I'm going to go tell everybody." And Shauna says, "No, I just want this private moment." Or she's scared they are going to eat her baby now that they know the baby has nourishment in it. And she doesn't want Lottie to know. Um, she doesn't want the others to know. And Natalie goes, "Okay, but okay." Like, it's a very strange moment. And
Yeah.
then Shauna is sleeping and groggy. She looks at the tea. She thinks maybe she was drugged, but
Mhm.
you're thinking Natalie would never drug her. That is not the Natalie we know. And then she hears the humming from the other room and the baby's gone. She goes
Mhm.
stumbling out. I'm not going to show a photo, but everyone's eating the baby, including Coach, who did not want to partake in Popsicle Jackie, Misty, Natalie too, Akila. Everyone's faces are different. Like Taisa's clearly bad Taisa, and Natalie's kind of
Yeah.
embarrassed. Misty's just like happily like, "What's wrong?" There's nothing
Is
weird with that.
Coach crying?
Coach looks
We see Travis crying earlier as
Travis
well.
cries several times this episode
We have
in
actually everyone crying. Also, I'm sorry, is this was okay, never mind, I think the scene is coming. There is a scene in this episode they had to reshoot, and I
Yes, I
actually
heard that.
don't think it was the birth. I think it's the last scene,
It might be.
and I cannot imagine having to do that
Yeah, they
twice.
like the footage got damaged or something, I
The
heard.
footage got and they said it was, like, really hard to redo, which makes me think it's not the birth, it's actually the really emotional scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So Shauna then wakes up screaming and everyone is around her
because they're
crying.
eating
Well,
whatever, yeah.
she's like, but then she wakes up and she's still post-birth and none of that has happened. And they say, Taisa says, "You lost a lot of blood. We almost lost you. We thought you were going to die." And Misty says, "I'm so sorry the baby didn't make it." And everything was like a vision or a dream. And Shauna's saying, "I held him. He was alive. I held him. I can still hear him crying. Can't you hear him crying? Can't you hear him crying?" And then it does look like everyone just goes and leaves her there. But which is that's what it kinda
Yeah.
looked like, but then someone posted it online and you can see Taisa being like, "Give her space," kind of. So
Oh.
that's why they leave, and so she's just holding Taisa, who's been the one with her since the beginning when she almost, like,
It
um
also makes a lot of sense now when we remember Taisa and Shauna's
Yes.
relationship from season 1. It seems like
Yes.
they are much closer than
Yes.
anyone else, and you're like and now this all sort of makes
Yeah.
sense that, like, Shauna's asked Taisa to stay at the house because she knows
Uh-huh.
she's having the sleepwalking problem. They are very and it's I mean, this is probably something to
Yeah.
do with it. This was hard to obviously, this was hard to watch. This
It was
was
hard to watch,
really
and
incredibly
then
sad. They're really well
everyone
acted.
leaves Shauna and Shauna turns to the camera and like it's almost
Yeah.
breaking the fourth wall and it's like she's saying to the audience, "Can't you hear him crying? I can still hear him crying." So a couple things.
Mhm.
One would okay, so many things. First of all, does this mean the wilderness didn't like the button sacrifice? Which I didn't like the button sacrifice. Or was the sacrifice the offering they did to save Shauna? Like the wilderness took the baby,
Yeah.
but it saved Shauna's life. And because Shauna could easily have died from the placenta rupturing and coming out
Mhm.
first. There's like a couple things it could have been. A couple midwives were posting on Reddit. So like, but it could be absolutely fatal in the wilderness or even in a hospital stay. Like it's very dangerous.
Yeah,
So
and also props to the makeup department for
that
Shauna when she's giving birth, her
yeah, she looked
levels
good.
of
Yeah.
gray that she's turning were
Yeah.
like, they made her look like she had just was losing a
Yeah.
lot of blood. That's a really good point. I was trying to figure out I mean, because at this point okay, at this point, if I'm one of the Lottie the Lottie folk, right?
Yeah.
And the baby dies, I'm thinking, "What are we doing here?" None of this stuff is actually working,
Right.
none of these chants or sacrifice of the blood and the button and the what was the other thing? Hair, like, none of that
Yeah.
is actually working, so we're done trying to figure out the wilderness. There's no such thing. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like you just give up on that, right? So why aren't they?
It
Oh, that's good,
maybe is
Carla.
there is a theory that like Misty faked the baby dying or Lottie did so she could take the baby. and they just gave, I don't know what they gave Shauna, because they show Shauna something that makes her, you know, realize her baby's gone. But going back to,
we don't actually see. Well, I was
thank
thinking
God.
it's really good they don't show
Yeah.
anything, and they have like this fur wrap. But
Yeah. The
oh my gosh, did
that's
that
one theory,
happen?
but I
Is
don't think
the
that's
baby
true.
alive? And
No, I don't think so, but that is a theory that Misty or Lottie like somehow faked it or stole the baby.
oh, I got to think about that. I don't
So
think so,
this
but that's interesting.
this dream that Shauna has could be this afterworld limbo between life and death place where Jackie came, she saw the people, she was loved, she got hot chocolate, she drank it, she was really dead. When Lottie almost died in the woods in the snow, she was at the mall and she almost ate the Chinese food. She saw Laura Lee and all those people, and she almost ate the Chinese food, and Laura Lee said, "No, don't. You got to go back."
So
So
when
it's that
Shauna
eating.
almost dies.
So when this was Shauna almost died, but she does drink the tea at some point in this dream. Also, but so that doesn't totally jive, but the baby drank from Shauna and from Lottie's boobs.
Mhm.
So the baby ate, which means it fully died, because if food is this is now the third time that like food or ingesting something has been involved in this limbo post death. And that could just be because they're so hungry that that's what they're imagining.
Yeah, is that just a coincidence that's
Or is
not
it,
really part of it? I
then
wonder.
people suspected maybe this is just this afterworld, this like where Shauna got to be there to say goodbye to her baby, but this was like the baby's afterworld limbo thing, but she got to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Just a lot of theories about
That's a
what
really,
this
really
limbo
good
thing is.
really good point that that's the limbo that Shauna was in, and as she's starting to come back to reality, the last thing she sees is everyone eating, that she sees, like, the horror that she's actually
Mhm.
in.
Yeah. So there's a couple things that I noticed. Hi, that's a real baby. Um,
Danny's here.
so silly. Uh, so
I say hi.
Danny is the moose, the white moose. So I need to have that picture up on standby at all times. So a couple things about the baby. Are they going to eat the baby? That's what we have
No,
to ask now. Next week,
absolutely not.
the episode's called
They
Burial.
already said they weren't. They already said.
They said they weren't gonna, like,
No, they
eat
said they weren't gonna eat the
the
baby.
they
That
did say
it's
that.
it's straight out.
They did kind of fake out, and they did show us them eating the baby, but it was fake.
Yeah, but I think under no circumstances is that gonna happen. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
So, this also means that Lisa, the one that's at Lottie's cult, is not the baby, which many people thought she was. They also thought Adam was the baby and Shauna was sleeping with her own son.
I'm
So
still thinking it's more likely that it's somehow Natalie's baby. Lisa is. There's a lot of Lisa and Natalie.
yes, it's all Lisa
It's
and Natalie.
something's
She's
up.
important for some reason. Some people think she's gonna be sacrificed by the adults
Possibly. Yes,
to
maybe.
fix something.
Maybe.
So,
And Natalie might stop it. I don't know.
Lisa's important somehow.
Lisa's
Um, and
clearly
then
important.
yeah, for sure. And then even in the dream sequence, they didn't name the baby, which I thought was interesting. Like even in the dream when the baby is born and like Shauna's talking to the baby, she never gives the baby a name. And then this
That
all
is true.
explains why Shauna is so messed up. Like she lost this baby, she lost Jackie.
I was just gonna say this is
She's lost probably the most if we're comparing traumas at this
Shauna's
point.
having a very bad season.
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
is Shauna's
And it
rough.
explains why her relationship as an adult is so complicated with Jeff and with Cali, because she had this baby that she thought this baby survived, and then she lost. It's this whole thing. Yeah, poor Shauna. We
Again,
probably
there
need
is
to give
absolutely,
Shauna a break.
and there's no way that she wrote about this in the diary. It's just not possible. And for
So we
Jeff
think
to have read it and
Jeff doesn't
never
know.
bring it, yeah, I think
Yeah.
Jeff does.
Yeah. So, okay, now we're finally at the adults. This part will go by way faster. So, Shauna, Team Shauna. Cali and Shauna are called down to talk to the detectives. Shauna says in her Mother of the Year moment, it would have been better if you just slept with that detective. Because that's horrible. But because nothing you said would be inadmissible. But she's also a great mother. But then you kind of get it because you're like, look what she's been through. So
Yeah, I think Shauna just says it like it is.
Yeah.
And then we get sort of Cali not falling far from the tree in a second, so it kind of works. It kind of it kind of tracks.
So this continues to be the smuggest, smarmiest person on TV.
Yeah.
I can't with
What's
the
his
detective.
name? Saracusa?
Saracuso, so something, Jay. So they separate Cali and Shauna, which is not legal, right? Even Shauna says, "Why are you talking to my daughter without me? She's a minor." But why do they keep doing it? Anyways.
How old is Cali?
16.
We're sure?
Yes, they just said it in a few episodes ago.
This is bizarre. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Jeff is outside listening to
F the police.
NWA.
That
F the police, which is hilarious because he's super gangsta for a suburban dad who sells futons for a living.
It's just who is the sound producer?
But this is the second time.
Again, I need
what
to
was he
speak
listening
to
that other time when he was in the car just like that was more like
cut my life into pieces.
Yes.
This is my
He's really going through it with a musical journey and his life journey right now. So and he's comic relief. So Taisa and Van, which I'll get to, they call him and they explain that they're going to Lottie's wilderness retreat. And
Ty has some sort of relationship with Jeff. Sorry. I mean, for her to be that open about
they all
Lottie,
went to high school together, and they were at their wedding. Taisa and Van were at
lots
Shauna
of people
and Jeff's
go to weddings.
wedding.
Doesn't mean that you're I'm just saying.
Well, they were in a plane crash with his wife. I think they're all fairly close. Plus, in health class,
they're not though.
They're all sitting next to each other.
They haven't seen each other. No, but they have sort of made a point to stay away from each other, which is why it's surprising that I don't know. It just seems like a lot of information for Jeff to get, but
yeah, no, a lot of people were unhappy with this scene. They felt like it was very exposition or Ty
they
was
needed
not
to
acting
get
like
Shauna there.
They need to get Shauna there,
right?
So
and I feel like they could have done it maybe by putting somebody in danger. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Instead, they're he's like, she's pooping in the bathroom. So I'll take a message. And they're like, well, Lottie's not in a mental institution. She's at the place we're going. And he goes, hi, Van. And he seems almost excited to see Van, to hear that Van's. And I was like, oh, were they buddies? I want to know more about this Van's dynamic with everyone, since Van has now just come back into the picture. So
it seemed odd. It didn't. Yeah, I see.
It was a weird scene.
It was a weird scene. Yeah.
Shauna talks to the mustache cop, and even though Misty made her that giant cookie cake that said, "I want a lawyer," she did never ask for a lawyer. So he accuses her of being a terrible mother, and she gives this speech about how she never wanted to be a mom, and I couldn't tell if she was faking or not for him. So I went on Reddit to see, and most people seem to believe her. But I felt like Melanie Linsky's a better actress than that.
No,
and
hands
so
up in the chat.
It was ringing false to me.
Does Shauna's speech seem she's totally putting it on? It's not.
I thought it didn't seem like Melanie Linsky's normal amazing acting. So maybe there was truth in it, but maybe she was also faking it. See, people are very torn.
She's incredibly smart. I think, remember, we keep being told how smart she is. I think she knows exactly what to say. And it's why he says, what does he say?
He doesn't buy it. Yeah.
He doesn't do the slow clap, but he basically says the equivalent of that. He's like, okay,
But I do think there's some truth when she says, I never wanted to be a mom. I had a baby out of
guilt
to save a marriage that I got into out of guilt and shame.
Right.
Because of everything that she did out there. and Jackie dying. She married Jeff, but she wouldn't let herself be truly happy with Jeff so she kept him at an arm's length and Cali at an arm's length. But then she started to love them anyways because she couldn't help it. And so I do think there's like parts of it that are true, but
if I had to guess, I would say that Shauna married Jeff because Jackie dying is probably going to be the tip of the iceberg for Shauna about what's going down in the remainder of their time in the wilderness. I think she married Jeff to just try to be normal.
Yeah.
I don't really think it was guilt or shame. By the time that all that everything
she does
is
have
over,
a ton of guilt and shame towards Jackie's parents, though, and towards Jackie. Remember how weird she was about Jackie's parents?
I remember her feeling obligated. Did it seem like it was guilt? It was survivor's guilt, maybe.
Survivor's guilt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
And she was cheating.
I feel like marrying Jeff is just a way to sort of continue your life and be
have a
like,
normal
no,
life.
this would have been my life had I not. This would
Yeah.
have been the mash that they did, the paper thing. This would have been what I had I not gone into the wilderness and eaten my friend. You know,
Yeah.
amongst other things that are
Yeah.
going to happen, hunted people,
Uh-huh.
you know. I don't know. That's what. So I think maybe a little bit of it's true, but
a chance for normalcy.
I don't know if
Do
she
you think
didn't
it was to hang on to Jackie in a small way since she lost Jackie and
It could
Jeff was
be.
connected to Jackie even though she cheated?
That is a good point. That could be true.
And then she tells him, "I had an affair because I'm a desperate housewife. I was bored, and and he doesn't buy any of this. And he's like, "When did you see Adam last?" And we don't know what she says. So then Callie is talking to Kevin Tan, and she starts crying and says basically that Jay, the detective, I was a virgin, and I thought he loved me, and Kevin's like, "Bravo, I'm not buying that." And she's like, who do you think a jury is going to believe, especially after I tell them about his weird sack? And I thought that was amazing. Also, does she know something about his area?
She's bluffing, and it's a really good bluff.
It's
I
a
was
good
like,
bluff.
that's surprisingly good. But
Are
also,
we
I
team
think
Cali all of a sudden?
absolutely, that was a great speed. They redeemed Cali with that. I mean, that was
Or do we just
everybody
hate
was
the
like, "Oh,
detective with
good."
the mustache so much that we now hate Cali less by proxy?
I think that everyone just hates this storyline.
Yeah, I think
we're just ready for this to wrap up. Can we find out who Adam really was if it is a chance for Cali? All right.
That's something our Date with Dateline listeners are gonna get, a chance for Cali.
But it is great because I'm glad that now people will be cooler about Cali, including myself. But I feel like also think about this if you think Shauna's speech was real. We are being shown Cali and Shauna back to back, and we know Cali is lying. I think you can guess that this is kind of
They
both of them
planned it.
doing the same kind of thing very well. Because
Mhm.
Cali doesn't do a terrible job when she cries.
No, yeah.
And
She has an
Shauna
ugly
doesn't
cry.
either. It
Yeah.
just doesn't feel like it's true.
Like mother, like daughter.
Mhm. Yeah.
And also shows how Cali was raised by Shauna, because Shauna always has this ability to lie and to
She's
do she's
just a pretty good liar.
she's a
Yeah.
very good liar, yeah.
Yeah.
So Shauna goes out to Jeff and admits that she said, "I told them I was sleeping with Adam," and he does a spit take, which good for Jeff. And
Yep.
then he does this again, this is one of those plot points that doesn't make sense where he's like, they're going to see
Wait, no.
Lottie.
She finds the gun, right? Is it the gun that's
He
in the
finds
glove
the gun in the
compartment?
car and he's like, "You're a loose cannon, you're losing it. You're gonna you're gonna blow up this whole operation, Shauna." Like
But she
suddenly
kind of
she's
freaks
the
out at
weak
him.
link. And she's like, "You think?" So she's like losing it. And he thinks she's the weak link in this operation, which we all would have thought Callie was the weak link in the family, but maybe it's Shauna after all. So he's like, "You need to go to that wellness retreat and you just get away from the cops. You're going to ruin this and maybe get better." And it's a very strange plot point to get her there. But maybe it's the wilderness that wants them all to get there together so you can write it off like it's not really Jeff coming up with this dumb
Well,
idea.
we know
The
that, but
wilderness.
this feels clunky, and we
It
don't get
does.
a lot of clunky in the show,
It for
so it
sure feels
makes
clunky.
me suspicious that it's not clunky at all.
Yeah.
That it's actually Jeff needs her to go because Jeff is not what Jeff seems.
Well, I think Jeff is a good guy. I don't think Jeff is something shady, but if he's not what he seems, is it because he is planning to take the hit for the murder? He's going to go down for it. That's what he said last season. He's like, I'll go down for the murder. It's fine. He would totally do that for them. Maybe he wants to send her away so he could do that. But I don't think they're at that point yet where they need to confess. They really have no proof. They need to stop talking because there's no proof.
Yeah, no, this needs to just. Also, so this is really weird. So I don't think that, again, Jeff read the journals because I don't think he would send her to Lottie. I don't think there's any world where he'd be like, yeah.
He did read the journals. We just don't know what they said. If she was vague about things, she's not happy to see Lottie at the end. She like crosses her arms. She's not.
I need time codes of Shauna writing in the journal.
What did
I
the
need
journal?
legitimate time codes.
Is there a box under the White House in a climate-controlled room that has the actual journals?
I don't think she would write it down. I think that she is smart enough, and I'm not going to say.
But then why write anything
something
down?
Pathic enough, but I do think that she would do fake ones.
Like, why would she write fake ones then?
To make sure that nobody actually knew what happened. I think she's pretty cunning, but I could be way overestimating Shauna, but I feel like I'm not. I don't know. Here's a weird thing is she says, I thought Lottie was barely coherent. That's what Shauna says when he says
now
Lottie's
none of them. How did Lottie go from being incapacitated at a mental institution and running a huge, probably multi-million-dollar cult without, that might be an exaggeration, but a big cult on a very expensive compound with no one being able to find out except for Jessica Roberts, the dead private investigator?
Jessica Roberts didn't find out.
She did. That's how Taisa. Oh no, that's how she found out about Van.
No, Jessica Roberts didn't find out about Lottie. We found out about Lottie because they came and got Natalie. The cult came at the end of season 1. And that person,
how does that happen?
Natalie meets that woman who she's sort of blackmailing to get information about the banking of Travis. Travis's banking.
And the cult starts chasing the bank lady.
And she says, and at the very end of season 1, she says, what have you gotten me into? And who the F is Lottie Matthews or is Charlotte Matthews? And then the end happens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think
Lottie's family,
but how did
did
Misty
have money.
Not know?
Lottie's family has money, which is a good point. So maybe they financed this group.
And she never changed her name? And Misty didn't know about this?
Here's the thing, which we'll get to, is everyone in the cult seems very interested in what happened out there. They treat Natalie and Misty like celebrities because they knew Charlotte back then. And like, are they interested in the Yellowjackets fame? So she wouldn't change her name. She would have more allure as a cult leader if she had been through this trauma. Look at the lady we're not supposed to mention. Turquoise lady, turquoise duck lady. You can't mention because she's like been through trauma too, and that kind of validates what she does.
So maybe she's using that, or maybe she's saying, I survived the wilderness. I'm a survivor. I'm more in touch with my
trauma, and I can help you release from your trauma, like I released from my own.
I still feel like it's
the comments is so like making suggestions like maybe she killed her parents and got the money, and then Joanne keeps falling for it, be like, she killed her parents.
She might
because before when we said Nugget might be dead, she's like, Nugget's dead. No, we're just throwing things out here. You can't believe half of what we're saying.
Oh, so, Andy again says in the comments something smart. If Lottie was in Switzerland for decades, it does make sense that people stopped checking in on her. Yeah, after a while, they just were like, oh, wait, that's where she is.
That's where she's going to stay. Yeah, but how long was she there? Because we only saw her in the mental institution as like a teenager. So how long was she there that people gave up looking for her? It's been 25 years.
I think we're going to get I think we're gonna get some more information on that.
Yeah, how long did
I
this
would
cult
love to
take?
go back to that middle timeline again.
I
We were
would love
only
to.
there in the
Yeah,
first episode. I
me
would
too.
like to skip Ben's flashbacks
Yeah,
that I can't figure out why they're important, but I'm assuming they are.
I think they are, but
But
yeah, I
same
agree.
with this clunky transition to get
Right.
Shauna to go to the thing.
Yeah,
I feel like it's more important, and we're gonna go back and be like, "Why didn't we see it?
yeah,
Why didn't we see it?"
yeah.
That's what's happening here.
So, Misty is at the cult now, and sorry, the wilderness wellness retreat.
Wellness retreat.
And look at all these weapons. She has to get confiscated when she checks in. We
I
have a
love this so
syringe with the
much.
little bottle. We have brass knuckles. We
What's
have
the bottle? Is it fentanyl or insulin?
it looked like the fentanyl that she gave to
Does
Jessica.
it?
It
Okay.
does.
That guy
Mini
doesn't even bat an
binoculars.
eyelash. She puts a vial of fentanyl in the thing, and
She
he's
doesn't
like,
care. If like,
"It's
what
fine."
if Walter saw that? She needs to be ready. There's a tiny
Walter, I
binoculars.
guarantee you, has his own kit. Walter's
She's
got
like
his own kit.
she's
Yeah.
like she's Jessica Fletcher. It's so funny.
She's got brass knuckles, and then she has all of the stupid little hotel soaps. You see there's, like, a
Yep, and
shampoo,
she
and
has
there's the little
the
jelly
honey
jar.
and then some like parrot thing because she loves the birds and her phone is the birds,
Yeah.
the parrot. So Walter's trying to reach her, like text her, maybe to apologize. We're not sure.
She's not a
Lottie is
parrot.
upset to see her. So everyone,
Caligula's not a parrot.
her home screen on her phone.
No, but Caligula, the bird, is
Yeah,
he a parrot? He's gray. Are
yeah,
parrots
an
gray?
African gray.
Oh, there we go. I'm writing it down.
So
I didn't know.
Lottie is upset to see her. So, people thought that Walter was some sort of spy for Lottie to get her to the compound, but I always knew that wasn't true because she looks so upset to see Misty. But then they're arguing, but then Lottie gets some sort of vision while they're talking, and she's like, "Maybe you should stay. Maybe it would be good." And then she's starting to realize like that the wilderness is like bringing them to her, kind of bringing the group back together.
This is
So,
a bad idea.
yeah.
This is a bad idea.
So Lottie, because she keeps having these visions, goes to the psychiatrist. And this time we don't see the psychiatrist. We see the back of her head. And so we're assuming it's the fill-in psychiatrist who is either a figment of Lottie's imagination
There we go.
or a spy from another cult or somebody who's a relative of somebody that Lottie killed and she's trying to get back at her. It's weird. She gives bad advice. It's super shady that her psychiatrist went on sabbatical all of a sudden and she can get in. What kind of insurance does she have that she can get an appointment the day of anytime she wants?
I don't think this is real. Does anyone else think that this feels like
Something is very
something
up.
in her mind? This
No, for
feels like
sure.
it's
Like
something
something's
either.
very up. Yeah.
Also, does The Office look different? I gotta go back and do a side by side of The Office.
No, The Office looked. Yeah, someone to let us know. Maybe.
I just don't think. Yeah, this feels
So
awkward.
this is very interesting. So she says the psychiatrists might be the woods themselves. That's my last theory about that.
There we
So
go.
Lottie is worried that not only is she not ill, she's never been ill. So I guess she kind of convinced herself that everything that happened in the woods there was no spiritual thing and she was just very sick at that time.
Mhm.
And now she thinks it was real. And that's why this is happening. Travis did not come to you. He called you, but then he's dead. And Natalie didn't come to you voluntarily. You kidnapped her, but whatever. And now
Right.
Misty's there. So like people are coming. I'll give you that Misty's there, but it sent them there to show me that it was real. And in the subtitles, it is capitalized with a capital I, like the clown. So it is
Mhm.
like this entity. And she says, I wasn't the only one who felt it out there. It was part of us, the power of that place, the God of that place. We did terrible things in its name. And I thought when we were rescued, we left it there. But now I realize we brought it back with us. And that part I didn't totally understand. She's contradicting herself because first she says, I thought I was crazy and it wasn't real. But then she says, I thought we left it there. Maybe at one point she thought she left it there, but then after a lot of treatment, she thought she just made it up. But now she's
Yeah.
realizing it was real. we didn't leave it there. It came back with us. There
So
is a god.
the god of that place
Power.
is huge because we have not now really heard that referenced at all.
But we have gotten a lot of religious stuff between Lottie and Laura Lee. And whether visions in the Bible are like mean someone's close with God, but present day, if someone has visions, it means they're crazy and need medication.
Well, but this is also not God, like as God is referred to in the Bible. This is the God of whatever it is.
God of the earth or the nature, the spirit in the shadow monster from Lost.
I feel like
taller ghost wall.
I don't know. It's something important. The God is
the god of it, the power of it. Yeah.
It's also God and not gods too. I was sort of surprised. Okay.
Yeah, because she seems like she'd be like, harness your gods, oh my goddess. I feel like she says, oh my goddess.
She definitely would be, and it's
in her
very
therapy.
specific the way that she's saying. So we'll find out. Also, but that doesn't feel real. That feels like that's
mean
all
like
a
it's a
dream
good
that she's
god.
having.
That doesn't mean that it's a good god. It can mean that it's a very, very bad.
Obviously, it's a very angry, vengeful god. It's fine. Yeah.
So
wants blood sacrifices like often so that you can survive.
So Misty is meanwhile really enjoying the cult. She is in a drum circle, and this was the funniest scene. She is such comic she's like this.
Yeah.
And then the girl screams because they're doing this like primal, and then she goes, like she's oh, I don't need to do it. And so she was now friends with this guy, our second guy with the mustache. Do we trust this guy?
Is he gonna play a lot? I didn't
or is he
I didn't care about him as much. I don't know.
Why do we have two guys with mustaches?
So people like
he's
mustaches.
like, we've all been dumped here before, and this drum circle is to help us not be dumped. And he says, I dissolved a subscription horse meat business I started with my brother-in-law. Gonna need a whole another episode on that. Horse meat subscription.
What does Walter do?
Walter had Taco Bell shares, but he got hit in the head with some bricks, and that's why.
No, but there was something else that he did. I don't remember. Okay, all right, interesting.
He got hit on the head, but
Wait,
I don't know.
There is one Misty thing I just want to bring up with when she's giving all the stuff in the bowl. She does say when they take her phone, well, what about if there's an emergency or a fire?
Goat cheese, Katie. Walter had a goat cheese business. Good call.
Oh, there we go. So she says, what about an emergency? What about if there's an emergency or a fire? And she makes a really weird face when she says fire. She looks around and goes fire and looks around. And I'm like, Misty's about to burn this place to the ground.
Interesting.
It just like kind of came to me all at once. I was like, oh, is she going to set the wellness retreat on fire?
Possibly.
Maybe.
I wouldn't surprise me.
They might. Also,
she might be like that Sarah in that Dateline we just did. Along came Misty.
Also, I don't know why I didn't see them before, but in the dining hall, all of the chandeliers are antler chandeliers. All of them. They're huge. And they're all antlers.
Yeah.
Why would you surround your
I know. Well,
okay.
So Misty says she's never been broken up with or never been dumped. So
right.
I thought so. And he's like, what about Walter? She doesn't want to talk about Walter. So then the group finds out that she knows Lottie and Natalie from before, and then they treat her like a celebrity. They think she's so cool,
and she's gonna love that.
She just wants to be popular.
Oh,
she's so excited they're gonna ask her about stories. So then we get a lot with Natalie, and it was very sad. I did not enjoy this stuff. Natalie and Lisa talk a lot. Like Natalie says it's her fault that Travis is dead because she told him we brought back this evil thing, and then it sent him on this path towards becoming obsessed with
who's Lisa? Like none of their conversation.
Lisa? And then Lisa is like, no, it's not. He already had that bad thing in him. And she's like, then it's in me too.
So who's Lisa?
Who is Lisa? Is Lisa Natalie and Travis's daughter? Did they have a child that we don't know about?
Because she seems to know Travis.
She seems she did.
She did.
She knew about Travis. Yeah, she did know about
But
Travis.
why does she know about Travis?
I think Natalie told her or Lottie told them.
Feels like she knows him. She said, "Oh, this is about Travis." I mean, not this is about that guy Travis
Right,
that
right,
killed
right.
himself. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Feels like something. I don't know why Lisa is important, but she is a huge character in the here and now. She's like
Yeah,
the one of the people we see her almost as much as Lottie.
I know. She
So
is.
she's
It's
got to be big.
something's gonna happen, and I feel like I really hope those adult Yellowjackets aren't gonna sacrifice her.
And then why
Um,
does Natalie say to Misty, this was the other weird Natalie moment, is she says, "We are all like this."
yeah,
And
so
I didn't understand
I
what
didn't
that was.
totally understand that. Misty's being very like weird. She's being so excited to be there and stuff, and like I can't tell if Natalie's saying like we're all just really messed up, aren't we? Like we're all like this. Like all of us that survived, we all are like this. Um or because she goes through this thing with the fish where she almost kills the fish, but then she can't go through with killing the fish.
Mhm.
And um I don't know, it's like
And
oh,
I
and
don't know.
she
Yeah.
says to Lisa, "We did so much messed up stuff out there and it was to survive maybe, but I don't think we deserve to." And cuz not all of it was to survive. Some of it was like for sport.
No,
And
I think she's saying maybe because we thought that's what we had to do. We thought we had to do
we
these
didn't.
sacrifices, but we don't I did we? You know,
Right.
she's questioning, like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like we got a lot of new Natalie information, and I would
Yeah.
have liked some. The only new thing we got from Natalie is that she wears purple at the end, all purple. She
Yeah,
grabs the shoes,
she's
and
grabbing the shoes, she's wearing socks with sandals.
that was I don't know what that is supposed to mean. Does it mean that Natalie is now just surrendering to
I
but
mean, this
doesn't
is what
surrender in the wilderness,
no,
but
but
surrenders in the now?
right, it's very interesting. Or maybe she does eventually surrender in the wilderness, but I don't think so. I don't think she ever does. But I think
Hmm.
it is interesting because it's like that's what cults do is they prey on people who are like that broken and you know in need of something, and it's like she's now falling for it. She went there to expose Lottie. Well, she got kidnapped,
She went
and then she
no, she got
stayed.
kidnapped, but she wanted information about Travis.
She
She was
tried to
there to
expose,
figure
yeah.
out what happened to
Mhm.
Travis.
That's why she was staying, but then she kind of got sucked in, and I think she's developed a real friendship with Lisa, which she wasn't expecting, and it's
I gotta see where Natalie goes next episode. I'm really were there any, like, stills about
Sarah Carradine, who is so funny, of Crime Scene, podcast, said,
yes,
"Those
those
pleather
pleathers
trousers are standing up on their own.
by that point.
They are so crusty."
So, w did you get any stills from Natalie in the next episode
Uh,
on Reddit?
Not from the
From
only things
episode
from the
7?
adults were Lottie is talking to someone who's holding a goat. Adult Lottie. So they're gonna do some sort of goat sacrifice, at least, at the
Ugh,
compound.
okay.
But the only parts of Natalie were in the woods, and I can't remember. She's always upset about something.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think they're all always
she has
upset from
every
now
right to
on.
be upset.
From now
So
on, everyone's upset in the woods.
yeah.
That's gonna be it. Alright.
So then, yeah, so Lisa forgives her. Lisa's just like a pure soul. But so then anyways,
This
Taisa
is
and
an
Van.
interesting point, sorry, Sarah in the comments says,
Yeah.
Natalie was a natural shooter in the woods, but is terrible now. Does that mean
Yes,
anything?"
I think it definitely does. Yeah. And
What does that mean, though?
I don't know if she's just lost it over time or if it's like when she needed to care to survive, she could shoot, but now she doesn't need to survive. She doesn't want to survive maybe. So she doesn't. So oh, the promo's up now. It wasn't up like 2 hours ago.
Oh! Wait, can we watch it together?
We can all go watch
We'll
it.
meet back here.
Yeah.
because I'm dying to know. I'm
Yeah.
dying to know. I've been
Yeah.
waiting for it. Okay.
So,
Are we on Ty
yeah,
and
Taisa
yeah.
and Van are our last people. So, Taisa, there's a Scream poster, Betty Boop, airplane, Footloose. I'm always wondering what these are meaning. Van is creeped out by Taisa sleepwalking and saying this is not where we're supposed to be. And Van says, we doesn't include me. There's no us. They're just having like after they're broken up, but their exes drama. And then Taisa sees the unpaid bills and she tries to get her to admit the business is failing. She wants to help. She was a real estate lawyer. Van is sucking on this lollipop the whole time. Now, another theory I forgot last time is why Van is taking those pain pills. The oxy is because Van has
she's sick.
cancer and it wasn't her mom that had cancer, or maybe her mom did and she does. And that is some sort of medicinal
Fentanyl lollipop.
lollipop.
I don't. It's a decent theory.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I haven't made up my mind about it.
Yeah.
Did you make up? Do you know? What do
No,
you think?
I do think it makes. I do think. Yeah, there's something going on with Van for sure.
There's a weird moment actually in the car that I noticed. So when they're having their they're having their conversation about her giving up on love, or Ty doesn't want her to give up on love. She's in the and she's like, don't worry about me, and she sort of does this thing. And I don't know if that is an actor.
That's a Lauren Ambrose thing. I've seen her do that before.
Okay. So it doesn't mean that like she's having trouble with her eyes?
Could be. But I feel like I've seen her do that before.
Okay. Then it might be just wanted to state it.
So she says she's on the apps and she says, maybe I did give up on love, but don't worry. It's not because of you, Taisa. And there's something going on with her. And we do get like this interesting where she's like, I don't want to see Lottie. I want to leave the past in the past. And she says, and Taisa says, you run a VHS video store. And she says, well, that's the past I imagine, where we thought we could be happy and not where everything went bad. Like she's building this nicer 90s kind of in that store. But
well, it's kind of what Shauna's doing, right?
Yeah.
Shauna's building the life that on the MASH thing that she wanted to have before everything just
went
crap. Down in a plane crash. Yeah.
So Van is just driving her there, and
we know she's gonna stay.
She says, why don't we just go to IHOP instead? And then she says, if you see any barrels of Kool-Aid, call me for an extraction. And then later on, she makes a black and white Nike tennis shoes. So she does 2 Heaven's Gate references.
Yeah. No, Jonestown and Heaven's Gate, right?
Sorry, Jonestown and Heaven's Gate. And she sees Shauna driving up, which again is so coincidental that it's either horrible writing or it's the wilderness has brought them all together, because somehow they drove way sooner, but Shauna has caught up.
But I think they're further. Remember, she had to take the truck. She hitchhiked.
Yeah, she's very far away. So I don't know
what's going
Shauna drives in, and then they're like, oh my God, why is Shauna here? So then they all go in, and Van wasn't going to go in, but now she's in. And so they all see Lottie. And it's very dramatic with the woods themselves behind her and the lake. And it looks very much like the area that they were in. And Van there's more with Van, because Van's look at seeing Lottie for the first time is like traumatized anger, horror. It's like it's either Lauren Ambrose
read it as
such a good actress, but there's like something deeper in her, because she was on Team Lottie in the woods.
I didn't read it. I didn't read it as mad, actually.
How did you read it?
I didn't read it as upset. I read it. It looks like to me almost to be in awe or like memories flooding back, but it didn't seem bad. It didn't seem angry. To me, but maybe I just read it different.
Something happened between Van, obviously, and being on Lottie's team in her cult in the woods, and then now where she doesn't even want to see Lottie.
Could it also be that Lottie is in such a state by the time that they leave the wilderness that she's shocked to see her in this like
coherent,
doing this well?
Because Van also thought she was incoherent. Yeah.
Right.
she's like leading a cult. But I think it's seeing her in the woods, in the element of the woods again. It's like bringing everything back that they did, everything back that she was a part of.
I think looking at the comments, it seems like everybody saw something different, which is great because
Van seems mad. I read it as
we
scared.
don't know yet.
Yeah. There's just a deeper connection. Like everyone else is reacting to seeing Lottie for the first time, but Van is like it's a crazy reaction. It's like
It is. It's like
so deep.
It's like all the breath went out of her body is
Yes,
what it looks like.
totally.
Where
Yeah.
it's like you got punched by some emotion. Which one is it?
Yes, she got punched by something. Yeah. And Lauren is such a good actress. And then we get
what is Lottie doing though? So what is Lottie's reaction to this?
Lottie is, I think, looking and seeing her girls, and
Does she seem worried?
No, I think
She looks worried here.
Oh, yeah, she may be. Yeah, I think it's something we need to do something. The woods have brought us all here together, and now we have to do something. And I think she knows something, and I feel like it's going to involve blood.
You're gonna have to do more than kill a goat, I bet.
It's gonna probably be more than killing a goat.
Lisa, you need to get out of there.
Lisa, run,
needs
girl.
to go.
Go back to your mom, even though she's totally horrible. And
then
safe, we get the overhead shot to end all overhead shots. Did you catch it? Okay, wait.
I was excited. Well, we had been thinking it, right? Had I just said it in my head, or I feel like
you had said it in your head, I think. I don't remember you saying, but I'll give you credit, sure.
Oh, you don't have to at
no,
all.
I believe you. I'm sure you thought it.
I may have talked about it with someone else, but I was just thinking there's got to be something with the setup of these benches. Jake, was it you that I talked about it?
So
yeah, there we go.
You can see, if you look hard enough, you can see the way the benches are, and there's like tracks made in the dirt that it makes out the symbol of.
And what are the hook? The hook is it a barbecue? What is the hook?
Do they barbecue at the
It
compound?
looks like it doesn't look like it's not the beehives. So I was like, what is that area? It looked like a bar, like a high bar. Maybe it's the smoothie bar with the high bar and then the circle of stools
smoothie bar. There's just a Jamba Juice there.
Oh, sorry. No. I'm having coffee. That'd be funny.
Sorry for those listening. Jill said, Katie, please tell me you aren't drinking tea. We all know what that means now. Tea is mushrooms and you're getting poison.
Yeah.
No, so the question when we see all the survivors, which people are bringing up, are those the only survivors?
Oh.
I think there's more. Maybe. In the first season, Taisa and Shauna said to each other, have you heard from the others? And they only discussed Misty and Natalie. They never mentioned Lottie, but if there were more besides Lottie, I feel like that would make sense. But they could have meant Travis. They could have meant Travis and Lottie were the others. They said the others plural, which means it was more than one person, but maybe it was Travis that they meant and Lottie. That's two people. I feel like there might be more than more. They could have meant Van too. So I think Van was
and they didn't bring up Van, so there could be. All right, I hate to bring up it. I don't want to say it's the nugget in the room. Where is Javi? Yeah,
where's Javi? What happens to Javi? We don't know he's
was Javi in this episode.
That is false, Andy. We know he is. He looks over in this episode. He's like standing by a wall.
You saw a shot of him?
I'm positive. I saw Javi. He's in the cabin. He's still not really speaking except for what he said to Coach last week.
Is anybody ever going to care about where he's been for these months? Because that's all I would be doing from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed.
Yeah.
Is you look like you've been eating. Where
were you? Are there tunnels?
What's going on, Javi? And instead, everyone's like,
was someone sneaking you food? Were you stealing the one pooping in our bucket and stealing our meat?
Was
Taisa sleepwalking and giving you food?
It's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
to
People are like,
distraction.
"Where is Sammy?" Sammy's fine.
Yeah, also, where is
Sammy
Sammy?
is with a relative, we assume, and we don't Simone, we don't think has woken up from the hospital. Steve is the dog, right? That dog, I hope, is fine.
Steve is in trouble.
Yeah, so I don't know if Javi survives the wilderness. I don't even know if that is Javi.
Where is Javi?
Is that some pod shell of Javi who's been
Okay.
through something horrible?
No, I'm done. Nope. All
So
right.
a lot of people, yeah, were relieved to see that the baby, at least it's like happened quick and we don't have to watch something horrible happen to the baby. But it's interesting, like, would they have become maternal towards this baby? Or because this baby died, is that the turning point for them where they go all feral and they start hunting each other because they don't have this like shred of humanity that a baby represents, you know? Um, what would have happened if the baby would have survived, or would they all just have eaten the baby and tried to cult the baby?
They definitely wouldn't have done that. Oy.
And
I
what did
don't
that
know.
button do? Did that button save Shauna's life?
I also need to know what I know that there is some sort of meltdown between Lottie and Shauna. So
Shauna
when is
is if
that?
everyone in Reddit was like, if next week Shauna doesn't punch Lottie in the face, I don't know what's gonna
She
happen.
does. She does hit her because it's in one of the promos.
There we go. Okay, so that must be next week.
Yeah. So apparently it was a promo. This I saw on Reddit. It was a promo that was only on cable. And it was slightly different than the other ones. There were like 2 or 3 scenes that were mildly different. These are for people that really go over those like I do.
Yeah,
And
like shot by shot,
you see like yeah,
the punch.
yeah, you see Shauna punch her. So I don't know. I know that there's got to be some sort of fight. And
Lottie
I will
probably says something about the woods not wanting the baby to survive or something callous about the baby
I think that Lottie wants to do something weird with the baby who has passed.
or the placenta. Well, the
Remember
placenta have it.
remember they do the offering to the tree? I am
Yeah,
concerned that the burial that Shauna will want for her baby,
it's
just like the one with Jackie, will not be what
will not be,
Lottie
and that
wants to
could be
do with
what
the baby.
coach sees happening outside the window. Some sort of burial that he is not down with.
And the problem is that Shauna's outnumbered.
Right. She
So
now
if
is,
Lottie wants to do
especially if
some sort of,
Taisa keeps flip-flopping.
"We offer this wee babe to the wilderness,"
Mhm.
Shauna's gonna be mad, and then
Mhm.
yeah, so
If
I'm not
Shauna
sure.
had the one adult there on her side that could make up for being outnumbered, but
Mhm.
yet he is impotent, ineffectual. I can't. Yeah, and what if Ghost Jackie is Javi's friend? See, who is Javi's friend? The one that he says she told me not to come or something?
Ty.
Ty. It's bad Ty, we think.
Bad Ty.
Yeah, who was sleepwalking
Bad Thai
because she
food.
knew where I love Thai food, even if it's bad. Um, she knew where all those symbols were on the trees, and she knew where that warm tree was. I think she
Right.
was visiting him at night or something.
Hmm.
So many theories, and I really feel like I missed so many in the comments. I might have to go back and watch them all. Mike V's here. Hi, Mike V.
Hi,
All the way
Mike
from
V.
England. We love you. And this was so fun for a very sad episode.
Yeah,
It was
it is
very
very
sad,
sad.
but it's
I
still
do
delightful discussing it with you, Katie, and with all of our friends here in the comments.
do you think there's any chance that Shauna is pregnant in the here and now?
With Adam's baby?
Yes.
I mean, it's possible biologically. How
Nobody
long
else
has
is
it been since Adam
nobody
has gone missing? A couple months?
yeah. Her sort of blow up at Jeff in her being like he keeps bringing up, "You're acting crazy, you're acting
Yeah.
irrational," and whatever. Is she pregnant?
Mhm. It could just be trauma resurging
It
from murdering
definitely
someone.
could be, but Shauna has a propensity to be pregnant at inopportune times.
It
For
is
example, in a
that's sort
plane
of her
crash,
thing. Yeah.
and she is attached to rabbits. Is there
What
any
about rabbits?
chance?
Because they get pregnant so much?
And it's Jackie's animal,
Right.
and,
But
like
Jackie actually hated rabbits, but the mom thought she liked rabbits, so she kept giving him to Shauna, and
so
then
it's
Shauna
Shauna's
murders the
animal.
rabbit.
It's Shauna's
It's Shauna's
animal.
nemesis animal, sort of.
There's also been talk of
Nemanimal.
if you look at the lineup of the people in the scene with the antler queen,
Yeah.
they're clear animals, and Shauna is supposed to be the rabbit, the one
Okay.
with the rabbit ears.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, I just wanna put it out there. I don't think so, but it would be an interesting turn
You're 1000% right,
to then have a
Satoria.
wilderness
Jeff
baby.
will raise that baby as his own. He
Yes.
100% would. He is that guy. Um,
And we also are sure that there's nothing to that everyone remembers when Shauna and Jeff were doing it in season 1. She says very clearly to Jeff, "If you get me pregnant, I will raise this baby to
to
kill you and
kill
murder you or
Uh-huh.
whatever."
Yeah, absolutely. But that didn't happen because that baby died, but people thought that was gonna happen,
Or did it?
or did it?
Did Lottie squirrel the
But
baby
was
away
that from
into
the
the
first
tunnels?
episode a huge
Did Javi
foreshadow?
take the baby away? Is that why we don't see Javi at the
How
end?
we see Javi.
Oh, at the end of the episode?
Well, he's there at some point, but I can't remember. He's there. We don't see him eating the baby in the dream sequence, but
Because Javi's a ghost. I have so many questions. Okay.
but
These are just
I think you're
theories I'm
right about
throwing
the
out.
Ty thing because Ty was bringing him food at night, and
Yeah.
when Van started following her sleepwalking, that's why
Mhm.
Javi appeared that day and they started following him. He was there picking up the food that Taisa was leaving for him.
Is
But where
Ty
was he? He would have frozen. He would need to be underground somewhere.
is bad Ty just doing the things that Ty doesn't have the stomach for?
I mean, feeding Javi seems like a good thing.
Like,
So,
is bad Ty all bad? Bad
no, I
Ty
see.
kills the family dog because she knows that because bad Ty knows that that sacrifice is gonna win the Senate race.
Right, that's what we were led to believe.
So bad Ty
But
just
we were also
just
led to
gets it
believe
done.
that she was kind of normal Ty when she did that because she did this smile like she
Yeah, that's
kind of
true.
but then she seemed to not know the altar. When she saw the altar with the dog head, she didn't seem to remember. So, does she
Bad
know what
Ty
she's
also
doing or
eats
not?
dirt, so we don't know.
But that is clearly a stress response from being starving in the woods, I think.
Okay. Isn't that before their oh, no.
She never does that until I don't think she did that as a child, no. But where does the man with no eyes fit into that?
Oh my gosh. And then is Van losing her eyesight? Was I right?
What is
Was
that?
that
Who the man with no eyes represents is
no.
Van is having some sort of degenerative eye condition.
You wanna stay tuned to the end of our live stream because that's when all the good theories But the thing is, at one point, we're gonna hit on a wild one,
It'll be
and
right.
it's gonna hit.
It's like, what's the who says, if someone offers you a million to one chance, you always take it. If
Yeah, what was
John
that?
Cougar Mellencamp wins an Oscar,
It's
I'm
Kevin.
winning $1 million.
It's Kevin. It's Kevin in The Office. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because one time it'll be right.
One
So,
time.
yeah, that's all it has to be.
That's it. Sean is gonna be pregnant with Adam's baby, but Adam is actually Javi. Did
Yeah,
it. Nailed it.
nailed
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, it's
Done.
yeah,
And
we
and
still
Javi's a
haven't ruled
ghost.
out
It's a
that
ghost baby.
yeah,
We
it's
did
fine.
it.
We don't Ben is just Ben, he's losing it.
We don't Ben, I have
I don't think the
whatever
ghost
happens
cabin
with
guy is the
Ben
guy with no eyes, because the guy with no eyes looks like, Jack White from the White Stripes. Jack Black from the White Stripes, what's
No,
his name?
Jack White.
Jack
And no, it
White.
does not. How dare you?
He has, like,
I'm
dark hair,
offended for Jack White.
straight, and, like, looks like he should be wearing a top hat, and he's very pale.
Are you
And the
thinking of
guy
the
in
guy
the
from The Haunting at Hill House? The, like
Yeah, he totally could be the
yeah.
guy from but even paler.
Mhm.
He looks a little, to me, like Johnny Depp in that Willy Wonka movie that I never saw. With that really pale white makeup.
He looks a little bit like Johnny Depp and Sweeney Todd.
Maybe he is who you need him to be. And
that is something that's with Ty, though. I gotta go back and watch those childhood things with Ty because that's something, but
it
I don't.
happened when her grandma died. It is like the angel of death that haunts her family or something.
But it is also something to do with someone dying again right before
Yeah.
death.
But she sees it sometimes when no one's dying. Like she sees it when she's giving a press conference. She sees it like
Isn't
out on the street.
but maybe she is dying. Maybe someone is about to
Ooh.
die
Okay,
when
so
that thing shows up. And it's
spoiler
leading her to the edge of the thing. Sorry, go ahead.
spoiler alert for a casting note. You could turn off now. Melanie Linsky is married to one of my celebrity crushes, Jason Ritter.
Mhm.
And he is going to play, they think, the cabin daddy, the prospector guy who died, who I guess we're calling cabin daddy, who has big dead daddy
Gavin Daddy is
energy.
terrible. I hate I hate it.
Katie hates when I
The
say
cabin
daddy
man.
or big daddy energy.
The man o' cabin.
Cabin daddy energy. And Jason Ritter might be playing him, that if some of the photos are correct. That's very
Who is
exciting.
Jason Ritter?
Who's Jason Ritter?
What's he in? What I've
He's
seen
in a
something?
bunch of shows and like sitcoms and shows and movies, and he is awesome. He was on, I think, a season of Fargo. He's John Ritter's son.
Oh, I figured that. I do not know this man.
Parenthood was he played the boyfriend on Parenthood. He played Lauren Graham's
Oh
boyfriend
yeah,
on
I'm looking at
Parenthood.
all of these movies and shows and I have seen not one. So I am
He's
not
great. He's
familiar
so
with him.
freaking likable and just like seems like such a good guy. And whenever Melanie Linsky gets body shamed in Hollywood, he like won't stand for it. Like they're a
Good for
really
him.
adorable married couple. So we like him. Yeah. So, and I believe when she was on The Last of Us on HBO, she was on for a couple episodes. He was one of the monster figures too. Like they
that's
like
fun.
to do cameos on each other's shows.
That's kind of like Melissa McCarthy. Her and her husband do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Very
together.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh, he was one of the cops in Candy. That's true. That was more of a cameo. I felt like, well, because she was on that show, because she was on Candy.
I totally forgot. Yeah, she's in everything.
Yeah, she's been in so many things. He's great. He's such a good guy. He could be the real life less basic Jeff. Yeah, a much less basic Jeff. He's not vanilla. I find him very cute. He's on this show that was so cute. It was like this kindergarten reunion sitcom thing with Lizzie Kaplan, and he was on it, and it was the cutest sitcom, and you can only like find it on YouTube. And I loved it. It had like the best cast. If anyone can remember what that show was called.
Kindergarten Reunion.
It was like a bunch of kindergartners that like got together for a reunion by accident. It was like, but it was very cute. They became friends. It's super cute. Lizzie Kaplan, she's great.
I know who that is. Yeah,
it was a good show. Anyways,
Castle Rock, right? Castle Rock,
yeah. And many other things. Party Down.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was all right.
So thank you, everybody. We hope to see you next week, and
we'll see you then. I cannot. I'm sorry. I'm only trying to leave because I have to watch the preview. Is it worth it? Jake, please respond.
Please post it again in the comments if you wouldn't mind, if you're still here.
I can't believe we don't get to. It's probably going to answer 5 things that we said tonight, just right now.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everybody. Devin. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, everybody. Let's go. Let's do this, guys.
We gotta go. All right.
Bye.